Is the offensive line healthy? That's question number one. I think right now we could say yes, it is. I think.
Offensive line healthy?
Yeah, we can say that.
I think for as long as Tyron Smith's on your offensive line, it can never be considered healthy.
No?
Okay? I mean, let's just be honest, right?
I feel like that the OTAs and minicamp missed reps were just more about missed reps. That they,
to keep him healthy.
To try and keep him healthy. I will be, I said on a podcast with Bobby Belt, our podcast, The Love of the Star, I've never seen anybody has more bad luck with injury than Tyron Smith. When it comes to, there's times where it's not his fault. Where somebody's on the ground, he gets rolled up on, he tripped, something always happens around him. Kind of a thing, or I just want him to have a clean season.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. But going into it, I feel like then when we get to Oxnard and they have that Wednesday practice, first padded practice, by the way, if anybody's asking or wonder, August 1st. So that'll be the first padded practice, full pads.
This is so amazing. So we just got the schedule, right? Like Eric and I are two kids in a candy store. It's phenomenal. We're like, oh my gosh, we're going out there. We're a week away. We're counting the sleeps. Broadus is looking at the schedule, and he can just tell which one's going to be the padded practice.
Yeah. I could just, by the way he's got the practices set up, August 1st is going to be your first padded practice. And we'll have 4 live mics out there watching that thing, out there covering it.
That's going to be a blast, dude.
That will be a blast along
wait.
the fence. But that's, let's see if they, once again, baby Tyron Smith along, or does he actually get out there and get reps?
I think they should, and I think they will. I think you saw plenty of it during mini camps where Tyler Smith got a decent amount, even though he's going to be your day one starting guard, assuming Tyron Smith is healthy week one. Like Tyler Smith is going to be your left guard. But how many times did we see him, whether it be starting or with the second team, getting left tackle reps while Tyron Smith watched? And so I think that's going to be a concerted effort to make sure, like I bet there's gonna be a lot of people almost kind of be it like maybe nationally that haven't didn't watch the mini camps and stuff, and they show up like, wow, Tyler Smith, like he's getting a ton of left tackle reps. And I think it's gonna be just because they know inevitably there's gonna be at least a handful of Sundays where Tyron is not available and they have to turn to Tyler Smith to be the left tackle, and they don't want the first time he's being thrown into that fire to be week 7.
What is Bobby and I? Well, Bobby asked me this question: what is going to be the camp story initially that gets way overblown?
Ooh, the camp story that gets overblown. It's probably going to be the receiver stuff, just because you're not going to have Michael Gallup there. And I'm assuming James Washington is going to be healthy enough to go, but it looks like a skeleton crew.
I have more questions about wide receiver health than I do offensive line health.
I kind of wonder if it's going to be the role/usage of Tony Pollard. I think everyone's going to be looking at what are they doing with Tony Pollard? Where is he lining up? How are they using him? I feel like that's the second question. Will Tony Pollard's role actually expand? I think all of us are not buying it. We'll believe it when we see it.
They haven't proven it to us yet. They haven't.
You're going into year 4. You've had the guy. He performed for you last year. It's now or never. And Eric, you've made the point the entire offseason now, especially since we've gotten to see what they've got to work with at receiver. Now you don't have any excuses. Mm-hmm. You need to use them.
There's 100%. There are no more excuses to not make Tony Pollard a focal point of your offense. He's your most dynamic player. He's the guy that can take the 5-yard and turn it into the 65-yard play. And he's the guy that has the most versatility when it comes to, I can hand it to him and I can throw it to him. And that's credit to his days where he's in college and he's running routes as a wide receiver. So there's just I think if you had a Tony Pollard with a McSex or with a Shanahan or a LaFleur, I think you'd see him used in very creative ways. And hopefully Kellen Moore, there was maybe a come to Jesus moment at some point in the offseason. They're like, yeah, you know what? Gosh, he's one of our best playmakers. And it's not just, hey, we got to get Zeke to the sideline. I want to see a lot of Zeke and Pollard together. How much have we talked about that? Is Zeke and Pollard in the backfield together, or is Pollard motioning out to go be a wide receiver? And all that stuff needs to be a part of it, but I'm not necessarily confident we're going to see it.
Well, you might see it early in camp if, in fact, because they're trying to compensate for the lack of not having Gallup. That all of a sudden, it's like if Washington and if they Tolbert, if they come up not being able to take the full load of practice, maybe it's going to turn into, okay, we're going to have to compensate some things and use Pollard more as a wide receiver, at least initially. That might be the thing where we're all going, oh, look, they're doing it. They're actually doing it. Look, hey, they're doing this. That's great. But then it's only because
Gallup's not there.
It's
Washington or whatever.
And the wide receivers are banged up.
I'm kind of thinking to myself right now, honestly, if we just were honest with ourselves in assessing this offense and this roster from a weapon standpoint, where does Pollard rank for you? Because if he's not one, he's two.
Yeah, he's two.
He's two.
He's two.
He's your second best weapon, and he's certainly at the top of the list in terms of most versatile.
Right.
Where the defense goes, okay, Pollard's on the field. What are they going to do? Is he gonna line up in the backfield? Is he going to be a wide receiver? Are they going to throw it to him? Are they going to hand it to him? What's the deal? Are they just going to decoy him on this play? But he's the home run hitter. He is. I mean, think about that for a second. That's where you're at right now. Tony Pollard is your second best weapon on your offense, and that's assuming CeeDee Lamb's going to be a bona fide stud. But yeah. I mean, that's what Pollard is. So if he's going to go in there and get 20% of the snaps and it's just going to be Zeke overload and here's Fehoko, man, or here's Dalton Schultz, gosh, that's going to be frustrating. I mean, just objectively look at it. Like if you're Kellen Moore, there is no reason. If you're McCarthy, you're Moore, you're Nussmeier, you're Dak. Hell, if you're Zeke, the whole offense got to be looking around going, why is that guy who's very obviously a one or two best weapon on our offense on the sidelines being useless?
Well, that's why we had the questions about the coordinator and the head coach.
Right.
100%.
806 texting in Pollard is the greatest average backup running back of all time. And then we have the 469. You guys really, talking about Tony Pollard to the rescue, how Dalton Schultz is not really good, which is, I don't think, anything we've ever said.
Nobody said Dalton Schultz is not good.
We just don't want to pay Dalton Schultz $15 million a year.
I don't think he's a complete tight end.
Yeah.
I don't. And again, Bobby and I got into that on our podcast, and we talked about the virtues of having Dalton Schultz. He's going to make up a lot of things, especially initially on this offense that they might lack early. But I don't trust him as a blocker.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's the only thing, but there comes a point in time where, the really good ones, and I know some people got on me on the text about this. They're like, oh, Broadish, you compared him to Kittle and, the better, those guys. Yeah, because those guys are outstanding players and they also block.
That's the standard.
That's the standard.
If you're paying
Waller,
a guy.
Kittle, these guys all are like, not only they get open and catch the ball well, which Dalton Schultz does, they block.
Yeah, and you can't be hypocritical as a fan base, because the second you pay a guy, just like what happened with DeMarcus Lawrence, that's then the comparison. That's the echelon that you're now talking about a player.
He doesn't rush
right?
he doesn't get any sacks.
Right. Now you pay Dak $40 million a year. Now you got to be a top 5 quarterback. And then the 469's talking about, well, what about Dak? Obviously, you're talking about these other guys. Dak needs to be better. Why don't you talk about Dak being better?
He does need to be better.
I think that's obvious. I think it goes without saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we beat the Dak conversation like, to death.
We had a guy
over the course of the last several years with the contract. I think it goes without saying that Dak needs to be better.
Sound off yesterday, we had the gentleman that called in and I was trying to push him. He says, oh, I got Dak top 7. Top 7. And I'm like, oh, okay. We're in the top 7. Oh, I got him at 7. I was trying to get the guy to tell me how committed he was to Dak. I mean, you're only talking about 3 more spots than where the general managers and executive vice president guys or evaluators had him, scouts. I mean, what, top 10, right? So 7, is that, maybe that's good enough.
Finally, the third question from CBS Sports would be, is CeeDee Lamb ready to be the guy? And he damn sure better be, right?
Yeah.
I'm a believer in CeeDee Lamb. I get it, Broadus. We've had these conversations about, I don't know that he'll be a top 5 guy, I think
They
Vegas
have been 15.
I think he can be a top 10 caliber receiver.
Sure he can, but the problem he has is that guys like myself probably have over-evaluated him, and coaches haven't used them like Dan Quinn's used his defensive personnel.
Mm-hmm.
That we haven't seen CeeDee Lamb get used or played to his strength. But if you try and play to his strengths and he doesn't have success, then we were all wrong about CeeDee Lamb.
Right. But the things that he can control that he needs to clean up, the drops, right?
Yeah.
Some of the stuff in the open field when he does have the ball in his hands, that's what made him the explosiveness, being able to break tackles. Some of that he did a better job than we've given him credit for by the numbers. But the drops are something that he needs to clean up that he can do, right? The stuff that is in his control. Out of his control, that's on the offensive coordinator, that's on the quarterback, right? Get him the ball on the move. Scheme things up to get him open. I'm 100% with you on that, Broadus.
Vegas has him in terms of over-under totals for yards as a receiver. Vegas has him like third with like 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
I believe it's like Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams maybe that are ahead of him, something like that. But even Vegas sees like, okay, CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb is going to be the focal point of their passing game, as it should be.